Hello, welcome to Knox Makers. This is Tuesday. Every Tuesday we gather. It's open to the public, and we like to start off with show and share. This is where we can show off what you're working on, what you've succeeded in, or what you failed at. We like to hear it all. We do have a sign up for that, so we're going to start off with that. The first one is Kevin, who either has lathe parts or lathe pants. I can't tell, so I hope pants.
This is going to be quick. I've done two things. The first one is this. So if anyone's used a lathe, this is the not so great way of attaching a tool to your lathe. It's called the lantern post or rocker style. And there is a dish-like taper in this bottom part, and then your tool is flat, and it has to be something that goes in between. And mine, when it came, did not have one. So I did some experimenting and found out the radius of that dish, and I printed out a 3D piece of plastic like this, but that's not going to be strong enough to be able to take tool pressure. So then I took a piece of aluminum like this, and I used this to draw on it, and then used a belt sander to sand it down to the right dimensions. And then anyway, I put it in there, it works. The second thing I did was made some way wipers that look like this. And so let me find a picture.
What is that?
A way wiper, I'll show you here. So on your lathe, this part right here is called the ways, and that's what your thing will ride along. And as you're cutting, there's a lot of debris and stuff that can get on this, and then if you then come and scrape something metal over top of it, you end up grinding out your ways, and you want to keep them nice and clean. So what you can do is you can put a piece of felt, and that you can see right there behind it, and that felt will then wipe off the grit so that the ways are nice and clean. So when it came, there was no way wiper here, but there was just a shape. So I took a piece of paper, rubbed over it, and got the basic shape of it, and then put that piece of paper with a ruler, took a picture of it, imported it into GIMP, and then I selected all around it, and you can say to path, and from that you can store an SVG file. And from SVG, you can bring that into OpenSCAD, and you can then use that as a two-dimensional shape, and then you can then do a linear extrude to make a three-dimensional shape, and then cut some holes through it to go into the screw holes. So did that, and I got 4 way wipers now. That's all.
But you didn't show off any pants. The next up is Sue, and she has rider parts or rider pants. I'm not sure.
So last week before, I showed off some pants I was making for my grandson. And those, it turned out that the elastic was just a little bit too large, so I'm really glad I left a little hole in the back so I could pull it out with a fork and tighten up the elastic. He was very happy with pants, but he said, "Grammy, I want rider pants." So Ryder, if you are not into Paw Patrol, is the little boy who leads the pack of dogs known as Paw Patrol on rescue adventures. So I used the same pattern as I did previously. However, if you're going to have rescue tools, you need cargo pockets on the side. I've never done a cargo pocket before. So I Googled and found some YouTube videos. The person that I was watching was using a fabric that was very easy to manipulate, not the harder canvas that I was using. So I'm not super proud of what I did, but here's the rider outfit with cargo pockets, right? These are not shorts, he's just short. So Yeah, they'll be over in Fiber Arts later if you want to look at the bad, yeah. Look at the oopsies in them, yes.
Okay, next up is Joe, who's going to show off mosquitoes.
Okay, so I've been isolated for 2 years, and I wanted to fully utilize Knox Makers, so I figured I'd come up here and talk a little bit. And I think I'm going to faint here in a second. But anyway, if that happens, I don't know what to do. Let me see here. Okay. Mosquitoes, this is going to be a little bit about gardening, and it's not like making you can do in Knox Makers, but it's making you can do at home, like you can make food from dirt. And so right now, I've noticed that the mosquitoes have started coming out. And last year, I discovered something that is an effective mosquito control. And it's like, okay, so you pay Mosquito Joe to come and spray, and it's going to cost a lot of money. It's going to kill all your pollinators. Your garden's going to suck because you don't have any pollinators. And then the wind will blow all of his toxins away, and the mosquitoes will immediately come in from the next yard. You're not going to get rid of mosquitoes, but you can reduce the number of mosquitoes, and you do that with one way to do it is with a bacterium called Bacillus thuringiensis israeliensis. It's BTI, and it kills mosquito larvae, and it kills fungal gnats and houseplants. And the original stuff that I came across was this. It's called mosquito dunks, and this is like, you know, they're little donuts, and there's the cork-like stuff that's impregnated with the bacterium, and you put this in okay, this is what, I mean, I just took this morning, but last year I used 5-gallon buckets, and what I would do is you'd put some water in there, and then you'd chop up some straw into it, and then you'd throw in a couple of tablespoons full of dirt, because you want to create the equivalent of a mud puddle, because the mosquitoes like to lay their eggs in mud puddles. So you go around your property, you remove all of the water that you can, all the standing water, and then you set out, like I did, a half a dozen of these things. And yeah, okay. What? And the mosquito population was drastically reduced. But what I did, I got to thinking about it. I don't, 5-gallon buckets all over the place. Do I really need 5 gallons? Oh, and the other thing about that is these donuts, each one is good for 100 square feet for a month. Well, that's less than a square foot. So you break off little chunks of them and put them in there, or you buy what are called mosquito bits, which I'll show you in a moment. But, oh, that's my broccoli. Under tool. And this is there are some mosquito bits. And what I did was, this is backwards, I saved up some milk jugs, and I cut little windows out of them, and I pulled up so that it's got like awnings, because the thing I noticed about my buckets last year was after a couple of months, they just filled up with water, from all the rain. So these little awnings should keep these milk jugs from filling up with water. And anyway, so I cut up a few of them, and I chopped up some straw with a little mud in it, and I mixed it up, and I put it in these milk jugs, and then I added like a half of a spoonful, it's about a teaspoonful of these mosquito bits into each one, and then I hid them around on the property. Like if you can see, these are up against the wall behind some plants, because the mosquitoes, they'll find it. They're going to be looking for nice, warm places with a lot of protozoa and stuff like that in it for their babies to eat, and they'll lay their eggs in there. So that is some making of something right there, and I didn't faint. Any questions? Didn't think so.
Where do you get
Oh.
the mosquito bits? Like hardware store?
Say again?
Where do you get the mosquito bits?
I got mine from Amazon, but you can probably get them from Ace Lowe's or Home Depot. Yeah, because I wasn't leaving home. Yes.
How long are those good for? I mean, when did you need to refresh them?
If you get the donuts and you put them on a pond, they last a month. If you get the little things and you just put them in these little containers, they should be at least 2 weeks, if not longer. Okay, and by the way, that's the other thing. I'm soliciting for is: are people really going to be interested in making food from dirt as a making thing? You know, is this something we would? Is that a making thing? Okay. Any more questions? I got a question in the back.
Yeah, I was just wondering, how long did it take before you noticed the decrease in the mosquito population?
Well, last year, probably a week, maybe 2. And this year, I've only seen 2 mosquitoes so far. So hopefully I'm getting them out in time. And by the way, as like I said, you cannot get rid of mosquitoes, but you can help control them and you can reduce the numbers. A couple of years ago, you know, you just about had to wear a face mask on our property because the mosquitoes were so dense. Even if you put DEET all over you, you know, they were still flying around your head. Well, last year with the 5-gallon buckets, I didn't see hardly any, but of course I did see some. And then toward the end of the season, I started seeing a new mosquito that I'd never seen before. They were really tiny. They were about the quarter of the size of a regular mosquito, and they'd still bite, and there were more of them than I remember seeing. So they may not be affected by this. But again, it's just one control thing that's a lot better than killing all the insects on your property and in your neighborhood. Yes?
You were saying put it in a pond?
Yes, a lot of people in East Tennessee have ponds, and they breed mosquitoes, and so they get the dunks and they just throw them out there.
Toxic too, like if you have fish?
No, it's a bacterium, Bacillus thuringiensis. I can spell it, but I can't really pronounce it. There are 2 of these that are commonly used in organic gardening. One is subspecies Kurostaki, which is used like for broccoli. The other is Israeliensis, which is used for mosquitoes and fungal gnats. They are a bacterium that the larvae insects will eat. They'll eat that bacterium, and then they get a tummy ache, and they never eat anything else again, and they starve to death. And I feel so sorry for the mosquito larvae. But no, it's completely non-toxic. It's completely non-toxic. And I got in an argument with a lady on Facebook over that. She said, no, it kills birds. And I'm going like, no, it can only infect insects. And she said, well, the birds eat the insects and they'll starve to death if you do this. And it said, if it's a mosquito eating insect, a bird, I don't care. You know, I want to get rid of the mosquitoes. The point here is don't argue with people on Facebook.
The little baby ones, you think maybe the ones that had gotten the poison laid their eggs? And so
I think there's probably different environments that different mosquitoes utilize, and actually there's some that can get on you get a shady area, you get morning dew on the bottom of a leaf of grass, and that's enough for some mosquitoes to breed. And that may be where the small ones came from. Sue?
Yeah, I've used that product for years. It's awesome. And I even break it up and put it in bird bath.
Yeah, they show that on their video that you can break off a little piece of it. I didn't know that. I mean, I was paying full price and dropping one in each bucket, and then it's like, oh, wait a minute, you know, I don't have to spend all this money. Any more questions? Thank you.
Thank you, Joe. Last up, we have Tracy, who's going to show off scripting magic pants, I think.
So I wanted to make a digital note-taking journal thing in the terminal. So I, of course, wanted to do it all fancy like. So this is the process I went through, what I thought I wanted and how I went through it. So I use Vim as a editor in the terminal, and this is my Vim RC file. So when you use Vim, it does not autosave. So at first I did not want to accidentally walk away from my computer and then it shuts off and then all my notes are lost. So I didn't want that. So I added a command to my Vim RC that would make it autosave every single time I left the editing. I stopped insert. So the last one says auto command insert leave. Every time I leave insert, it will save it. I made a my own file type of .today, and then it silently saves it without dropping me out of the file or anything. Then that means that the file I use is just called today.today, and I can just keep editing it as long as I want, and it automatically saves whenever I want. But then what do I do if I want to save what I did yesterday, but I don't want to just keep adding to the bottom? Well, now I want separate files for every single day so I can look back and what I did last week, Friday, whatnot. So I wrote a little script that would say today's date, that would put it in the right directory, and then it would copy and paste today.today, the saved version that I just auto-saved, and make it into today's date.today. And then I have this. So now I can look back at what I did on the 12th of April. I've never done that yet, but I might. I don't even know what day of the week that is, but whatever. I have this now directory of text files, everything I did every single day, notes I took on phone calls or work stuff, a to-do list, a running to-do list, whatnot. But the files were boring and all white and hard to read. What is a to-do and what is a something I've already done? So I wanted to make it color-coded. So I added a syntax file for the .todays that looks for something that I start with a hash, and it makes it a certain color, so all my headers are hashes. And then if I start something with two, I don't know what the backward quotes are called, tick marks, then that's a separate line. So now my files look like this. I took notes, a to-do, they're all different colors. So I can easily look at it and see what I've done. Okay, so then the next thing I wanted to do is what if I wanted to go back and search for something that I looked for? So I could easily go in the command line and just grep it and search for it, but then you only get the first line. And I have all these notes on my pizza recipe, but tried my pizza crust recipe is unhelpful. It doesn't even tell me what day I did it on. So I had to write a different script. So my search command I called also today. There's a theme here. And this is my search command. So I'll explain, is it very small? Is it too small to see? I'll explain all the things I did. So first of all, it goes to the today, directory, and then it empties a file called search.today. It wipes out my last search. And then it searches for whatever term I put in. So if I put today pizza, it will search for pizza. And it will list all the days that I mentioned pizza and put it in a list called terms. So then the next part, it'll go through that list. It'll say on the 12th I said pizza, on the 13th I said pizza, I really like pizza, I said it 5 times. Every time I say pizza, it will look for that file, it will tell me the file, it'll print out the file name, and then this very fancy thing will say, take the entire text block, not just the line that pizza is on, it takes the whole text block. So it looks for my variable. It doesn't matter if I uppercase it or lowercase because I'm super lazy. The beginning of the block is a blank line. The end of the block is a blank line, and then it dumps it in the search.today. Then it adds some lines to separate the searches. Then that part is done. The last thing I did is for work specifically because we use a ticketing system. So in my notes, I will just write RT number. But if I'm searching back, then I can just change it into a link. So this last line looks for those RT number and changes it into the entire hyperlink so I can click on it directly from my search without ever editing my original file or having to type that out every single time. And then the last one says vimcat, which is, it will pretty much print it, but it will print it in, the VimCat specifically does my fancy colors. So if I search pizza, it says the file, the day I talked about pizza, the entire text block, so I know that next time I should make my pizza thin crust. And then that is my script, so.
Super cool. That's it for the list. Do we have anybody else we're missing? Going once, going twice? Okay. We have a ton of classes coming up. Tomorrow, we're making a mallet, right? Unfortunately, all the tickets are sold out to that, so get it next time. New members onboarding on Thursday night at 7. That's for anybody who wants to come. We particularly request that new members or trial members come. It is now a requirement for membership that you go to at least one new members onboarding. But everyone is welcome, old members alike, not yet trial members. You're welcome to come and learn more about Knox Makers and how it runs. That's Thursday at 7. Saturday, there's a laser class, but it's sold out. But also Saturday, there's a cutting torch 101, and that is at 10:30. And so there's tickets for that. There's also tickets for the MIG welding 101 at 12:30. And then Sunday, there's a board meeting. All members are welcome to go to all of the board meetings if they want. Link will be provided to you in our chat for that. And then next Thursday is a machining 100 for Billy's Zone. Next Saturday, we have hand cut dovetails, intro to stick welding, and milling 101 on the Bridgeport. And so we have a ton of, that's all in the next 2 weeks. So we have a ton of classes. If you want to sign up for one of them, go to our website, go to the events tab. You'll see the calendar. You can see the events. Click on them, buy a ticket, and go to it. We have more classes coming up past the 2 weeks, but that's the ones for the next 2 weeks. That's all the announcements for today. If you are new, this is your first time, or you've never had a tour before, come and find me or somebody with a red tag, and we'll answer any questions you have, give you a tour. And with that, we're just going to go play in the workshop. Yay.